you do actually need to get this final, like, you need to get this down, I feel like, before we are going into endgame. Otherwise, you are potentially ending with just one hooked survivor in 3 stages.
Yeah, I mean, especially because we're talking about we're now moving into this portion of the map. We do see, though, we have 2 survivors here at the current moment. Oh, and Royalty getting just a little greedy in the... Oh, no but you got the adrenaline with the pallet gun. No way! Hey, what it do? It's your boy Q, back with another exciting matchup as we have an upset with Jinx taking down Agony in round 2 of our Holiday Horrors tournament over in Dead by Esports. And while we have seen the gap closing and seeing top teams while still being able to put up consistent placements, like everyone has to lose sometime, right? So it wasn't really the fact that Agony lost to Jinx, a very good team in their own right, as you'll see in the matchup itself. But the biggest surprise was seeing Agony dropping before we even got to the quarterfinals. I think Dyer had said it had been like almost 2 years or something like that since that had happened. And while I personally wasn't expecting Jinx to like roll over in this matchup by any stretch of the means, like I said, they're a really good team as well. But when I saw the killer selection being Nurse and Hillbilly and Agony, knowing that that meant like we were probably going to be seeing Nightlight's Nurse as well as seeing finger guns on Hillbilly, I knew that it was going to be a very tall task for Jinx, and man, did they deliver. I hope you all enjoy. If you're wanting to keep up with as far as what the Wolfpack has going on as far as DBE, I'm going to leave a link for their Discord down in the description below. And if you enjoy this type of content, it'd really help me out if you'd leave a like and a comment down below, because that's going to help us out with that good old YouTube algorithm, help get our content in front of more people. Also, we just crossed over 300 subs. I greatly appreciate it. The year isn't even over yet. Maybe we can get like, I don't know, 350. Do me a favor. A lot of y'all who have been coming back and checking out the videos aren't subscribed, so just make sure you check down there and hit that red button. Alright? But until next time, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. It's your boy Q, signing out.
Alright, time to get started with round number 2, and Jinx is getting started as well on that Undying totem that left the trial after 5 seconds into this game. It felt like already a little loss here for Agony on the Hex totem. Nightlight gets the first hit onto Madstow and a nice DH, extending the chase here a little bit. Very good start, I would say, for our Survivor team here.
Yeah, definitely a good start. Now you've at least built a little bit of distance. Ooh, and actually going to be able to bait out another swing, but now just going to be going to the corner, making basically Nightlight have to go as far as possible to go towards this hook here. Nice start, though. Even though the survivors did find your Undying, you know, Nightlight here already has a hook as well, and I couldn't help but almost hear Nightlight in the back of my head, like, oh, of course they spawn on my ruin, and we got to talk to Behavior about that, right?
Yeah. These spawns can be super unfortunate, though. We have to say the Ruin Undying combination definitely something risky here to go in, as you can lose the Hex totems quite quickly. We will see how quick Jinx is on the Ruin totem here. We do see the interruption on main building, 1 generator done. Now Nightlight forced to make a decision here. Michaela in the background, someone in main, so potentially 2 survivors looking towards a save very soon. Might be the Deliverance play here as well, but there is the Ruin gone. So Jinx really quick here. 1 gen knocked out, the Hex totem's gone, and Corrupt about to expire for 1 hook stage. I think Nightlight needs to watch out here that Jinx is not taking over straight from the start.
Yeah, I mean, we do see some scratch marks right over here, kind of close to from the one choke point heading over towards where our hook is, kind of that little corner piece between the two. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get a connection there on our first swing. I do think that's good. Yeah, it's going to be Mads, though, is indeed going to be getting forced onto second stage, which is going to be good for good for Nightlight to be able to push back some of that pressure, because you mentioned already finding the Ruin and Undying has been Jinx, and we actually see Nightlight in that case coming back and kind of just making sure we can secure a very early elimination. I like this play here, especially since we got somebody coming in for the save, and we're even to injure that other player as well. This could be big.
Yeah, this is really big here, also because the shape of Groaning Storehouse, right? That's what I love to see this map back. You can kind of trap these survivors here at the end of the map. A nice DH again here, under pressure, finding herself tunneled out to the potential death, getting a nice DH of might even be a decisive strike. There could be game changer. Locket Joe coming out as well. Mats here with an absolute great performance for Jinx. That's a second generator, potentially a third one, and then you play a 3v1 with a good one. Nightlight maybe with a little lag here as well. So now a lot of things coming together on Agony's side here, and this chase here is taking so long.
Yeah, and we are going to see the down now coming onto Mads. At least the good news is, even though it went a little bit longer, now you would be closer to, if Mads does happen to have the decisive strike. I'm sure Nightlight probably has that internal counter going right now, trying to make sure that you do not go into another extended chase, thanks to an unfortunate decisive strike. But we are going to see the pickup here at this point. No one around, it doesn't look like here, but that's going to be a 4th gen getting popped. Wow. That's huge, because the only person that Nightlight has hooked thus far has been Matt. So right now you have 3 potential fresh hooks with 1 generator left before we can start working on these doors.
Yeah, that's huge. That's so huge. Also that Jinx knocked out these generators so quickly. The good news kinda is that you have a little bit of a gen setup here at the shack side. You have 1 generator where the person died on hook. You have 1 generator up there and 1 over here. So it is a little bit playing in your favor here. We have seen the pop kick also. We need to mention when we talk about how quick Jinx is here, that's not going to be a no one escapes death. We have seen Corrupt, Ruin, Undying and Pop, so you have nothing for the end game. And I feel like if you go in with Ruin, Undying and Pop here, you do not want to find yourself with 3 stages on 1 generator remaining here. Nightlight really in need to get a few pop kicks here from a few quick chases, and right now we have to say that Jinx really looks like they won't give that out for free.
Yeah, I mean, Jinx has definitely showed up today to play. And honestly, this generator back here wouldn't be a bad generator to work on. I mean, right now, I'm not sure if I'm Nightlight, if I take the chase back here. Keep in mind that this hook back here, this has already been sacrificed. So if our Nancy is able to realize that, maybe taking chase further in the backside actually might be able to force even a drop, put some extra pressure onto Nightlight. But of course, we do have 2 survivors, both the Michaela as well as the Claudette we have not seen for a while, so they could either be split up or even on the same gen together. We are going to see our survivor going back into this corner. There's the 5th gen getting done, and this is going to be a little bit of a trek for Nightlight here to get to this hook.
Yeah, we have seen this strategy lately a couple of times, right? When Groaning Storehouse really getting used to take an advantage, but it's going to be the hook here. I do think, though, they should have enough time to open an exit door. We might see a 2-man escape here, and I have to say a 2 fresh escape. So you deny 2 times the extra point for this and take 2 survivors out fresh. That's a huge result here, and especially going in against Agony, that is definitely something Jinx can feel really good about.
Yeah, and then the extra fat shaming getting caught on the side of the rock. I can imagine that's a pretty big feels bad. It's probably a little unfortunate, probably not exactly the start that you're looking for, but this is Agony, right? And we know that their survivor squad is very strong. So even though Jinx might be feeling really good right now after trial number 1, you got to make sure that you come out in these back-to-back killer trials and keep the pressure down.
Yeah, the survivor team of Agony is definitely here with a little bit of a challenge for the Nurse game, because Jinx actually managed to go into a lead here, 14-16, and as we are handing out less points for the survivor side, it's always huge if a team starts with a lead into set number 1 on survivor side. So as said, we have 2 kills here with 6 stages. That is definitely a big potential for the Nurse of Jinx here, and it is going to stay really interesting what Agony is bringing out on the survivor side. If they will play something risky, or if they are just going for something slower to make sure every single stage they're handing out results in a generator. We can definitely expect Agony, as you say, to have a good response here based on their experience and coming in with a game plan. We will have Jinx sending us an invitation for trial number 2, and we will be back on Groaning Storehouse after a little break.
and we're back. We have Mads out on the killer here for Jinx with a 2-point lead after a very impressive survivor performance, 16-14, already finding a Nia very quickly as well. That is Nightlight. Nice dead hard, though, going to be able to extend this chase a little bit longer. Worth noting, though, we are going to see Nightlight kind of still taking this chase in the same area of the map that we did see him in on the killer. I feel like this is an area that we see the teams go with a lot. And actually, we have a Ruin and then a Dying getting broken as well. Our survivors for Agony being just as efficient as Jinx in the early part. Now we're going to see how quickly they can get these gens done, as we do see Nightlight going down relatively quick as well.
Yeah, I feel like we might see the exact early game like on the other side with both totems broken. We might see one generator that was doubled up getting completed, and then we would put actually the same early game up. But here comes a pop kick onto this generator. This might be the one Agony was really close from getting done. However, as you say, the Ruin removed from the trial is really huge for our survivor team, because it's not going to be enough anymore to just chase the survivor away from a generator and take the free regression from your perk. Very nice move, I feel like, that Mads is using the hill here as an environment to check a little bit who's potentially moving in for the save, as you do have to worry about a deliverance against the nurse here. So looks like we will see a camp into, never mind, actually someone just sneaked behind. That is Blind Riven coming in, joining the Agony roster a few minutes here before this match today, waiting out the DH, and we will see a tunnel out on to Nightlight.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty easy decision, especially because you haven't seen a gen completed yet, right? So even if Nightlight happens to have the decisive strike, go ahead and risk the pickup here, because you can eat that here in the middle and then just go ahead and finish. Then you know you don't have anybody else to worry about as far as the rest of the game as far as tunneling out. But instead, we're going to see a second hook on the Nightlight here, and only one gen has gotten done. Keep in mind, we haven't seen the one there by Pride Rock get done. I think that was actually it right there, if I am not no, it wasn't that one there. So actually, Agony being very, very, very efficient on these gens here.
Yeah, they're doing a really, really good job right now, and I feel like it comes down to the question, how quick will Mads be with the tunnel out onto Nightlight here? How quick will Agony be forced into a 3v1? How are the generators looking when that is done? It really comes down to the question, what is Agony getting done before Nightlight is going to die? And this might be a huge chance here for Agony to make a play, as the nurse left the hook. You do really need to have Nightlight dying on hook here. If they manage to save and you take more seconds to tunnel him out, once again there would be a long time. They go in for a double save though. Nice idea here from Agony. They're trying to get Nightlight for the additional seconds here. Ace finger guns taking a hit here. Now interesting to see what is going to happen. Nightlight back on the floor here. Might be a fake onto the decisive strike. Maybe they kept it for later. It's going to be interesting. No, Nightlight is actually going to die. We have 2 gens instead of 1 gen. So Jinx Killer here in a little bit of a better position.
Yeah, Mads has come out and been able to match, and like you said, even top what we saw as far as the first elimination and the speed that it came out. I would imagine, though, that we probably have a survivor that's gotten at least one of the gens getting pretty close. We do see this one here had quite a bit of progress, but of course that pop goes to the Weasel is going to regress that thing back 25% immediately, and I do believe Mads does have a location on a survivor. Yeah, unfortunately, you aren't quite skinny enough to fit behind that tree, Claudette. You have been spotted here, and nice firecracker play.
Really beautiful one here by Royalty coming out. Perfect double back with the firecracker. We often talked about Agony and their firecracker rate, right? That it's almost 100% of use. Really nice play here by Royalty. Needs to go into the chase here behind these rocks. Going to be a very, very interesting one, and that's a nice move by Royalty. Not too sure if that was actually Nightlight had the DH, so that was just a fantastic juke here by Royalty, but a nice down as a reply to it. Royalty going down onto the floor, and at this point, having hook stage number 4, now you can go for a fresh survivor during the end game to put yourself into Elite.
Yeah, and we are going to actually see it is a injured finger guns that is retreating from this generator right here. I was going to point out the fact that he hadn't been healed, meaning that they were probably split up and pressuring two separate gens. We do see a fourth gen getting done by Riven across the way, and now that does give Mads an idea as far as where your two survivors are. Now going to just kind of play defense here. You've got a hook pretty well in the middle of a 3-gen setup, and the generator that has the most progress is regressing right now, so definitely a really strong position here. We also saw finger guns being able to finish off the heal on themselves. I'm guessing was probably getting some resilience value, which is why we saw so much progress in this middle gen.
And it is going to be potentially the second stage onto Royalty here as well. So that would bring you to 5 stages. We also know all the locations of Agony survivors. We know that nobody can really work on a generator that is too far. We will see a trade coming in. So that is another fresh hook here for Mats. Might be an adrenaline play with the Mac here. So Mats is just picking up in time, getting by Riven onto a hook here, but that is now 3 survivors across the board. Royalty coming back. Looks like Agony is taking a lot of risk at the moment.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing here there's going to be another pop kick onto this middle generator here, which does mean that thing's now going to be back to around 50%, right? Which does mean that that's going to be at least a 40-second gen at this point. I'm not sure if finger guns maybe retreated back, was trying to set up for a potential reset for Royalty. We do see, though, finger guns right there. Now things can get kind of spicy because the 2 remaining survivors that are in this trial at the moment, both being just a health state away from being on the ground there. Nice flashlight by finger guns to prevent the blink there, and actually should allow enough range. Yeah, I was going to say for Royalty to be able to get a little bit of distance here. Now we have 3 survivors who are all off the hook, but all of them are all injured here, and I think this is going to be where we see Mads playing it safe and just playing some good zoning to secure it down.
And this is now going to be a little bit of a decision making here. Going back for the generator here is the safe choice, right? You would like to have more chase and more hooks and more points, but you need to make a difficult choice. You need to calculate how much time do I have to get the survivor down, and which location on the map do I chase? Do I get that in time? And Matt's making the decision here that he's not getting that. We do not see a lot of progress on these generators over here, so I do assume that it is going to be maybe a full reset from Agony's side and then coming back all together, which is going to be a really interesting turn of the game potentially, as Mats is losing all the pressure he had and Agony will be able to attack all the generators in once.
Yeah, the only unfortunate thing is we are seeing that the 2 gens that had at least some progress are regressing back. The middle one had the most progress, might still be able to have some progress on it by the time that our Agony survivors are able to get over here and touch that thing. But you'll be able to see, we come back over here, man, we're under 25%. That thing, I think at one point was that like almost 85% progression at one point before some back-to-back pop kicks. So Mads really being able to push back in this mid part of the trial here. And although might not have a lot of pressure right now after the reset from Agony, the only reason you're at this point is because the pressure that you had at the start of the trial. So definitely got to be feeling good.
Yeah, and also we have to mention the gen setup, right? I just realized it now, but this 3-gen here is insane. I'm not saying that Mats is in a good position because of this 3-gen, because he played really, really well, really confident, and we have seen nice choices here, coming back, keeping it safe, but we do have to mention it for at least a second, because this 3-gen here is potentially one of the tightest setups I've seen in Groningen Storehouse for a long while. This is actually like 5 meters between the generators. That is going to be rough, but we see that Agony is finding a good response to this, and this is interesting to mention as well, right? With the right game plan and the right strategy, you can break this, and Agony being super careful here, sending a survivor in, a little bit of progress and then leaving. If they continue this and have the patience, this might turn out in their favor here.
Yeah, and it's funny because we talked about like heading into even just the days worth of matchup, you know, with we talked about how even Nurse was kind of going back to like the typical high action gameplay that we like to see here in comp, but sometimes it does kind of pull into this kind of stalemate that we're seeing here, and it's because both teams, like obviously every trial is going to matter. It was 14-16 after trial number 1. Things can still turn around and be really tight even after trial number 2 here, and now with 3 healthy survivors and 3 gens all pretty well fully regressed back, wouldn't be surprised to see our survivors, at least at this point, trying to attack all of the gens individually. That way, at least you always have something going on, right?
Yeah, that's for sure going to be the plan here. And we can see by how slow this match became, right? We had the early game, Undying, Ruin, Tunnel Out, everything was so quick, and we talked about it when we had into the stream today, how quick it actually going to be. And now an interesting decision here by Mats, committing onto Royalty, feeling confident that this chase is going to end before the last generator can be completed. That's an interesting decision. Hit coming out onto Royalty. The time is ticking. If they're doubling up on the main generator, you have around 20 seconds maximum left until the last generator is done. 19, 18. The time is ticking against Matzi, and Royalty is putting up a good chase. I'm not sure if that's going to be a down in time.
Yeah, the only tough thing, keep in mind, Nightlight was the survivor that did have the dead heart at the beginning of the game, so Royalty did not have that at their disposal. So unfortunately, that is going to be a down, and Mads is going to be close. Oh, I was going to say close enough to maybe still be able to put some pressure onto additional survivor. Keep in mind, right now at this point, we're at the same amount of hook stages as far as the 6, but you can still maybe get you some more hook states here at the end part of the trial if you're Mads. We do see closing in the distance here onto finger guns. We're also right next to a door here, so you've got some good map awareness, some good map knowledge, knowing that Nightlight is probably, or not Nightlight, I'm sorry, Riven is probably on the far door, and we do actually see Riven is going to be able to open that door across the way, and with finger guns taking the hit there, might actually be able to see the 2 getting out here.
And this is the fresh survivor! This is the fresh hook! Finger guns is the fresh hook. That's the one survivor you do not want to have on the ground, and the one survivor you do not want to see located here.
Yeah, but look, you got to unhook across the way, and do you see they're already healed? That's your adrenaline player here. We might, even though that's your fresh hook, we still might be seeing Agony being able to make a play here to get all 3 players out. That's going to be 7th hook stage, which does mean now you've accrued more hook states here, but you can still get more escapes and get more escape points and take those, get at least those extra points there and kind of make back the difference here. We do see, I think that's Royalty moving in here around the rock. Now we're probably going to be seeing our other survivor here as well. They got to be moving in for the 2. I actually think you're going to be trying to force a decision by going in and make the play for the door. I really like that play here.
Yeah, they are putting a ton of pressure onto Jinx Killer. I think now where Mac got located, it is going to be tricky as Agony is taking risks. And now they really need to be careful of what they are trying to do. This might potentially end really, really bad. If Mac is going to get down, she is getting down. That's more stages on the ground. Royalty going into the exit door, but returning actually back into the map. Is this match ever ending?
No, we now see coming back here, and things can get a little spicy. You know, you probably would like to get the save before 2nd stage, but we see that would have to come into the next seconds here. We do see that you're standing right next to your survivor, but now Mads does have the decision. We have to go for the pickup. If we go for the pickup, the next question is how close is the next hook? We do see relatively close here. I think you can probably, get the save onto finger guns. Not sure if you get the reset here. Still might be trying to make a play to get risky. 3 people out the door, but they are definitely playing with fire here. And we do see that timer at the top of your screen dwindling down, and yeah, you're just gonna take the 2 out here. I like that play.
Yeah, 10 stages here. So I think Agony had a really nice plan, a really nice idea for the end game here, but it did backfire. The risk they took, definitely not the result you wanted to take here, as you're now getting 12 points on your survivor side here for the escapes, and you're gonna hand it is going to be 14, 19, 24 points to the killer. So Agony is going to find themselves in quite a score difference here. They are moving to 26 on the side of Agony here, while Jinx is moving up to 40 points. That is 14 points lead now for Jinx. As said, I really like and I understand the risk being taken there, but with the double return into the trial, they handed out too much, and we had finger guns as fresh hook, and then Meg taking risks. She was one hooked so far, so these two survivors there, definitely the survivors you didn't want to have back to make a play.
Yeah, I think we just kind of what we saw there was just a story of very unfortunate events, right? Because I think they were trying to split your doors, which is where you happen to get finger guns caught, and then you try and make that back. Because if you like when finger guns gets caught, if you can make the save there and get out, then like the trade's worth it, right? Then giving up the extra fresh hook, yeah, you don't get the full points as far as on the escape, but you still have the ability to like make some points back, and kind of I would say that's where you can kind of make a play for momentum where you get the 3 out, right? Heading into another survivor round. But now if you're Agony, you've got to get together and say, hey, yeah, maybe we had a couple mistakes, but if we're going to make sure that we get out of this round against Jinx, we need to have a very, very impressive performance on the survivor side. That way we have a chance in the killer side for Hillbilly.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that Hillbilly is going to force this decision, right? Because Hillbilly is about who's making mistakes on the survivor side. A lot of people often say it's not that great talking about mistakes in DBD comp, but Hillbilly realistically is about mistakes on the survivor side. Who's losing nerves a bit too quickly? Where's the Billy able to pull a nice mind game? Survivors potentially losing. So it is going to be a really, really interesting set here to watch. However, with the pretty difficult end game here for Agony, it is going to be a challenge. 40-26, the current score. 40 to Jinx, 26 to Agony. We will see the Hillbilly on Shelter Woods as this map is back. Jinx is going to start the second set.
Wait.
Yeah, and we need to. We promised each other to talk about this because Shelter Woods, I really love it for Hillbilly as well. And we have talked about the higher pick rate of Billy for round number 2. And we have excluded Shelter Woods as I was not aware that we made a map change. However, that's possible. But yeah, so do you think Shelter Woods is motivating some teams to bring Billy back?
I 100% think so, because the higher, like the... And everybody who knows, like on Sheltered, it's, I would say, even though McMillan's known for bringing the best balance, Sheltered is like the one that has the least amount of resources, right? So when you talk about a high mobility killer like a Hillbilly, it allows them to shine, especially because we talk about a killer who typically tends to struggle in the early game. So as long as you can get, remove those couple of resources early, the end game can actually work out in the favor of Hillbilly. And I'm going to be excited to see how things play out here in Trial 2 for sure. Or sorry, set 2.
Set 2, yeah, with the Hillbilly. Really love it. And we're going to see a lot of Hillbilly today, which I also find super interesting because we're going to be able to compare the Billy gameplays we see. It's sad that we don't see Oh Boy with Benny. That would be super interesting, or Ivan and
yeah,
Eternity.
But I think we're getting finger guns next, right? I guess got to be finger guns.
But yeah, I was about to say, like, we don't have Benny on board for this event anymore, but we have finger guns on Agony's side, and that, knowing that finger guns is coming out soon for Agony, is putting you in a little bit of pressure on Jinx side, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely knowing that that's a good possibility laying in the shadows means that even though you have a little bit of a lead right now heading into set 2, like you definitely need to make sure that you still put up a very strong performance on the Hillbilly here in trial number 3.
And we already see them setting up. It's DMR1, another known Billy main, and going to put up some interesting gameplay here. DMR1 was the guy that played Hillbilly on ALP in round number 1, where we were very surprised, and put up the 4K, I believe. Or at least a very good performance. So this killer here, DMR1 on Billy, also definitely knows what he's doing. We see that Royalty is in lobby already. We have 3 more Agony members that are missing at the moment. We will have them invited, and then we are going into set number 2. Hillbilly, Shelter Woods after the break. And we are going straight into a Hillbilly gameplay on Shelter Woods. Nightlight is getting located here as the first one, DMR1 with the chase here, trying to get an early down. That, as we said, Hillbilly can be really interesting. You can get a quick down, or you can have a really, really difficult run here for a long time of the match. Going cross map now, checking on the generators here first after letting go Nightlight. No survivor. Oh, actually a survivor over here. So that is going to be Chase being taken now by Blind Riven, I believe. And yeah, it comes down to the question, how quick can we remove the resources from the survivor team? And then we will try to figure out if Agony is able to put up their challenge here.
Yeah, and I think that was part of the decision as far as like the early like break from Chase, right? You got one, I think you had gotten one pallet across the way. You come over here, put some pressure onto another gen, get another resource out of the way. We had talked about it, Sheltered Woods, not exactly a map that has a plethora of pallets, right? And almost saw a curve there from DMR around this pallet itself. And actually, we do see our survivor being relatively patient there, but very nice low pro hit there through. And now at this point, DMR was probably just going to go ahead. I was going to say, keep this. Oh, right, the branch. Yeah.
And another survivor getting interrupted here. I have to say, DMR1 is playing an interesting Billy strategy, because very often what I think we have seen is a Billy committing to the first survivor you see, hoping that you get it down early enough and then taking another fracture during the mid game here. Seeing that DMR1 is actually going for the chase on multiple survivors, trying to interrupt them, is a little bit different to the other Hillbillies we have seen throughout the tournament. And it's a really interesting approach here.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, typically, especially you talked about committing to that early chase. And again, I think we were trying to see if maybe we could remove some of the resources out of the way. But, you know, again, you're talking about trying to continuing to switch off which survivor you're pressuring. Against a team like Agony, they're just going to be slamming out these gens, kind of like we're seeing here. 2 already down. We do now have 2 injured survivors, so that's the good news. But I feel like we left one back at Shack, and then the other one is probably back rotating towards Shack, so they're probably getting the reset. Plus 10, wood to the face, gets done, Nerd. Also getting the blind there as well. So our survivor squad from Agony here is really doing a good job. Even a 3rd gen getting done across the way. You know, we had talked about, and I had even seen people in the chat during the break talking about how they had a very steep task. Some of them even calling it impossible, but we do see Agony putting up a very, very good fight here at the early part of this trial.
Yeah, a very, very good move by Agony here. Nightlight using the box and then getting the stun. What a beautiful juke here of the chainsaw, and that is generator number 4.
Wow.
We do actually need to get this final, like, you need to get this down, I feel like, before we are going into endgame. Otherwise, you are potentially ending with just 1 hooked survivor in 3 stages.
Yeah, I mean, especially because we're talking about we're now moving into this portion of the map. We do see, though, we have 2 survivors here at the current moment. Oh, and Royalty getting just a little greedy in the... Oh, no, but you got the adrenaline with the pallet gun. No way!
Oh, and I was about to say now, towards the end game, Agony with a little mistake here, greeting the paladin going down, but it was all part of the plan. Royalty ready with the adrenaline, and the no one escapes. That being cleansed as well. I'm not entirely sure if the no way out already expired. I'm pretty sure it did, so that is potentially just 1 survivor getting hooked here, and that is Agony bringing Agony back.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about already seeing the door open, and you definitely don't risk it here. You're talking about 3 fresh survivors. Yeah, you let all of them go out the door, and now Agony. I was trying to tell you guys in chat, if there was a team that was going to do it, I wouldn't be betting against Agony, and here, probably expecting to see finger guns, if I had to guess, coming out. Going to be a very tough task for Jinx here, and they're going to have to make sure they come together, and they're going to have to try to make sure they put together a very impressive survivor performance themselves.
And the score is really close together now again. Jinx 47, Agony 45, so that's 2 points. We have Agony on the killer side. Also on the killer side, you will be able to earn a few more points. Let's talk about it though. Agony, 2 kills would be 14 for the killer, 16 for the survivors. That wouldn't be enough. But if you get 7 stages, there would be 17 points for you as a killer and 15. That would be a tie. So we need 7 stages across the board, or 2 kills and 2 stages on 3 survivors. That is still a challenge, but it's finger guns.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely doable, right? And I think the big thing is you're going to need to make sure that your survivors for Jinx are doing exactly kind of what we saw from Agony there, right? We talked about being very, very efficient on your gens, being very like we saw, like, not pre-throwing pallets too early because you know that the killer's trying to force them out of you. So if you can get an extra rotation out of them, definitely a good thing, and waste as much time as possible in chasing. That way your survivors just have to do the easy thing, hold M1, hit some skill checks.
And it is really finger guns coming out on the Hillbilly here for trial number 4. We will have the ping test, then we're gonna invite Jinx to the lobby, and we will show you trial number 4 in just a few moments.
All right, and it all comes down to this, our first matchup of the day, of the round, Agony and Jinx in trial number 4, 45 to 47. Finger guns out looking to make the finish the comeback here for Agony on the Hillbilly here, able to find a survivor relatively quickly over here at the TNL portion here in this first chase. This first chase is going to be important, and again, I know we had seen people saying that this is going to be a tall task. Let's not forget that this is the finger guns from the best of the best tournament that was able to close things out with the Hillbilly again. So if anyone could do the tall task, definitely finger guns. So going to be really interested to see what unfolds here.
It is going to be a really interesting one, and this M1 here is huge, and that might result... Oh, actually it doesn't! They do manage to survive here, and that might be huge, but you can see that Jinx is in a difficult spot here. That was really close from taking it down, and that's definitely what you can't afford as you are facing a win condition at around 6 stages here.
Yeah, and you know, we kind of see a similar strategy to what we had seen last round as far as switching off chase here. I do see, you know, here we're able to actually push a survivor off of the gen while we do still have a little bit of additional pressure from that corrupt intervention. We're going to be going for the back rev here. Ooh, and I think you probably should have taken the pallet there because, oh, accidentally gets done stupid. You're actually going to be able to build a little bit of room, and now making it to the TNL wall, going to be able to play a little bit safe, and now actually has built a nice little bit of distance around this tile.
And this match, I have to say, is so close. 2 situations now where Survivor was really, really close to going down, and it really coming out for Agony here, but they managed to stay alive. Jinx keeps fighting, going for this rock here as well, going back on the pallet here. That's not going to hit. We do see a deadlock coming out. Corrupt is expired. We saw the bamboozle, so that leaves 1 additional perk here towards later of the trial. We can reveal that potentially very soon. But yeah, so finger guns with a little bit of a different idea here with the deadlock. So far, we have to say Jinx a little bit slower on the gens, but we see the progress here. They are splitting up across the board, and that might be 3 generators being done very, very soon.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have been able to relocate Michaela here, and this is going to be another resource! Oh, nice play, but a good body block, though, coming from finger guns here. So that is going to result in a secured hook state, but we do have those generators popping off like crazy in the distance. That's 2 of them back to back. We do run by 1 generator that is covered. Doesn't sound like there's too much pressure on that one, at least at this point. Can't really speak for the one that's over in front of us, but we are able to get into another chase here relatively quick. Remember, we've already done a little bit of a chase over in this direction, taking out some of the resources, but I do like this play from finger guns. Instead, coming across the way, checking on your survivor. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get there before the unhook, but you are able to force an M1, and now I think you're going to chase another fresh hook survivor, that being Linnea, here towards the shack. Not sure if you're going to be able to make the pallet. And that's going to be big, especially because you got basement here.
And now they're taking a ton of risk here on Jinx side with the potential pallet save right there. Finger guns getting stuck in shack, though. That's going to cost some time, but this risk here with the pallet is difficult, except they're trying to keep him busy as the Nia is maybe an adrenaline play that is coming in. Nancy here in the open, though. That is not what you want, and now you're going into this. Jinx potentially losing a lot here.
Yeah, we do see the pickup, though, onto the Nia. That's at least the good news. You do get Mads off of the ground. This is going to be another fresh hook, though. And you had talked about it earlier, heading into this matchup. The important thing for finger guns is you do really need to make sure that you get a fresh hook across all of your survivors here. Also, keeping in mind you've taken care of a lot of the resources within the map itself, and we do still have the potential of being able to make some extra. Actually, we've got some scratch marks around here. This is your entered survivor, and you are going to be able to get rid of Shack Pallet here. That is another valuable resource, but you mentioned it earlier. 4 gens already complete, and we haven't checked on them in a while.
Yeah, the last generator needs to come out very soon here for Jinx to make it happen. That's the one. No way out. Procs 2 tokens on that one. But right side indicates it. No one escapes death. Instead, the deadlock here on the board. We have definitely seen Jinx getting a little bit slower on the generators with the deadlock. But this is now hook stage number 3 on a fresh survivor. There would be 5 stages. That wouldn't be enough, but Jinx can't attack the exit doors just yet. So if Finger Guns finds Claudette, this is the chance to take the win here potentially. But Claudette will be really far away from the exit doors. We do see a Nancy. This Nancy is injured. This can go in both ways, and I feel like it's just one down away from flipping to each side.
Yeah, definitely have to imagine that we have a survivor across the map working on the door, as we obviously came towards this map portion of the map and did not see the door. Keep in mind, we have, again, used a lot of the resources over here. We are going to be able to secure the M1 down onto Nancy here, but instead we are going to see finger guns keep the survivor on the ground. You need to get yourself a couple of people down, and that is going to be a very unfortunate hitting of a... I'm not sure if he got the rock or if that was clipping another... edge of a branch there, but I think that's going to be with the door opening. That's going to be 3 survivors heading out the front door, and that's going to be actually, that would be Jinx walking out with the win here, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I'm pretty sure that would be it, yeah. If K dies and the rest is escaping, that should be the win for Jinx here. And Q, that is Agony dropping from a Dead by Esports tournament in round 2 after I don't know how long. They have always been in the top 4. They have always been the team that is putting the others into a challenge, and that is coming in with all the impressive gameplay. And the fact that Jinx is ending this series of Agony shows what a talented team this is.
Yeah, I think definitely one, it speaks obviously volumes as far as the talent for the roster of Jinx here, but I think also goes to show, I think it goes to kind of show the gap closing as far as in competitive Dead by Daylight, right? We're seeing more teams getting involved, more teams putting more time in scrimming and putting in the extra time as far as the background getting prepared for these tournaments and things. And I think that's what's really resulting in us being able to have more excitement. I mean, we even saw in round 1, right? Like we saw an overtime set. We saw a whole bunch of sets coming down to the wire. And I think that just goes to show as far as we're seeing more parity in the league, because the scene just seems to be really growing, in my opinion.
And that is Agony, that is Agony. Really, I'm in shock, Q.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's crazy. I feel like looking at the lineup today, I feel like all of them, I feel like we were expecting them to be close. But if there was one of the 4 that we were probably the most confident in picking a winner in, it was probably this one, right? And to already see an upset is it's got me really excited for our next 3 matchups for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because we walked in here and said we have exciting matches for today, and then Jinx, yeah, as team number 1 in round 2, the starter of round 2 is putting up Agony in place, or pulling the win against Agony and making them drop in round 2 here. That is huge. Agony, we wish you all the best here, and we hope to see you again in the new year. And we just have to say, Jinx today, an absolute impressive performance, because Agony, as said, one of the most consistent teams in DBE, always top 4, always with plans, always with the very, very good ideas and everything they put up. So yeah, very, very interesting to see this match. And wow, what a upset, what a surprise here coming out by Jinx.